Morning, Bill. Hi. Good morning, it's 8:30. We'll go ahead and get the meeting started. Since Bill's standing up, we'll go ahead and call for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with that, I move to number 2, approve the agenda for today. Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion second, is there any discussion?
Can there be, number 18?
Number 18.
Yeah, what is that?
It's basically a class that
It's a class out at the complex after this meeting on open meeting laws.
Okay.
So I assume all 3 of us are gonna attend, and I think most of the department heads are gonna attend
Okay.
for a class on.
It was moved to our office and I got it all set up.
We were gonna have it here, but there was just too many people, so we decided to move to the
Okay. It's in our training room.
Oh, you're in your
We
training
moved
room?
it, yeah, we moved it to our training room.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Look for motion for number 3.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 14th.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and second, approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Why do I have 2?
because
I
you
got
didn't
7.
sign,
Oh,
you didn't sign. You signed the white page, but you didn't sign the good, the
okay.
fancy page.
My fault.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm bad. I'm new.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, number 5, meetings attended. You guys have some meetings?
We
I
have
know you went out
number
of
4.
town. Huh?
Number 4.
Well, have
Unless
you
you want to
guys,
skip that.
have you guys looked them over yet? You
Yeah.
guys good? Okay.
Well, the only one I have a question about is the Snyder Hollenball.
She'll be in here in a little bit, and you can ask her.
Okay.
Do you want to approve it after you ask her, or do you want to approve it now?
I can go ahead and approve it. I just didn't, I don't know anything about that, so.
All right, well, I'll look for a motion to approve today's claims then.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion second. Is there any discussion? The total amount is $232,506.47. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we'll move on to meetings attended. I'll jump up at once.
I didn't have any meetings, but I did go down to Tuna for ISAC training for 2 days last week.
Well, you guys went to Des Moines,
Yep.
yeah?
Yep.
How'd that go?
Nope. It
Good.
went well.
Did you
You
learn
got more
anything?
information and you got more questions.
Yeah.
That's usually how that works.
So, I had no other meetings than that.
Same on your end?
Yes, I'm on my end.
We had a public health meeting. I won't steal Leah's thunder because she shared and we had so many exciting things to talk about. We did go through their budget and we did a good job on their budget, I felt. But I'll let her expand on that. Other than that, Susan and I have been off and on talking about the budget and plugging numbers in, so. And that's all I have. Item number 6, public input. Does anybody have any input they would like to share with the board?
I may bring something up on 17.
Okay.
Depending on what I can do.
All right.
I did have a request from Farm Bureau for us to attend their February meeting.
Do you know what that date is?
Yeah, it was the 13th of February. Ori said if that didn't work, the March meeting would work for them too, so. I didn't know.
13th is a Thursday. Do you have a time?
No, he didn't give me time, I guess.
That's fine. We'll just have to make sure we post an agenda that we'll all be at that. It's just, every year, it's the same thing, so.
Okay, well, I'll get back to him and get the time and.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything going on the 13th.
I don't that I know of.
Well, put us down for that, if you wanna make that contact.
Yeah, I'll talk to Mike.
If you do, let Susan know so she can get
I will.
an agenda posted. All right, we didn't have any payroll changes, not my folder anyway. We do have a liquor license for the Cedar Crest Golf Club. Run that down, you can look at that real quick. If you feel like it, I would look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the liquor license for Cedar Crest Golf and Country Club. I haven't heard of any calls or anything, so I think that would be okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Cindy, we're ready for you if you got time. Okay. Bobby, you all right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to her right after this. Thank you.
Did you want
So, with the mobile food pantry, it takes place tomorrow. And the local food pantry, those are the numbers that I gave you. So it's basically 2024 in review. And you'll see that we've had our highest since I started keeping stats in 2013. At the bottom of the chart one that has all the lines. In the red, you'll see that was 2024, and you'll see all the previous years before that. And the other page is, I wanted to give that to you because we had our board meeting and it shows the utilities on there. Y'all replaced the new furnace air conditioner last year. And so in red, you'll see the 2024 numbers and how drastically the utilities dropped. So that was amazing. That it's working really good.
That's great.
So. And our numbers for December are on there, so I don't need to let you know those. All of 2024 is on there. As far as our office, we had in December 49 phone and 23 foot traffic. And Salvation Army kettles are all back in my office now. I went through and collected all of those. The total for the kettles was $728.30. And we received donations of $3,900 for a total of $4,628.30. So that's really good. It's the highest that I've had since I took over for Salvation Army several years ago. I don't have that date with me, but it's been, I would say, since 2014 maybe.
So then that money goes to Salvation Army?
Nope, so it stays in Louisa County, and whoever requests like a utility disconnect assistance or eviction notice, or maybe the refrigerator quit and they're poverty or under income guidelines, our Louisa County Community Services funds can't help with everything. There may be some reason that they're denied. Salvation Army funds can kick in and use those funds, or that's when we reach out to Ministerial Association, Community Action, but Salvation Army is another place where we can utilize funds.
Great.
So it helps out people in their time of need.
Mm-hmm.
So the Christmas Angel Wish Tree program served 12 families. That was 26 children that were assisted. The notice of decisions for December, we approved 2 of them. One was rent assistance and one was for cremation. And there was one that was denied. They were requesting school meals, assistance for school meals, and that's another one where Salvation Army was able to kick in and assist in that area. So. The 2010 Chevy Impala that sits out back, the red car, I have the title in hand. We have a new battery in it, and a new battery cable. Tracy assisted with that, and so I was super thankful for that. The car is running and ready to be sold. So
Why
It's up to you
Why don't you
guys.
back up just a little bit
Oh,
for
yeah.
their benefit
Sorry.
and let them know
Absolutely.
why we got it.
So we had a client that passed away here in Louisa County and did not have any beneficiaries, any family, anyone. The police department in Clemens Junction did do justice as far as trying to find people to reach out to for this person. It ended up being a county burial, and they were renting at the time, and so the landlord was working also to try to find family. And anyways, we inherited the car, and the items that were in the apartment were donated. And yeah, so we have this car that, and then we also went through, Adam Parsons helped with the paperwork in order to get the remains that were in her accounts. And so we collected those, and that was able to recoup the cremation funds that we had to pay. And now we have this car, the last remaining thing that's been sitting out there for a while because it was a lot of title, came back, had to go back in, came back, and yeah, so now it's ready to be sold. So it does have over 220,000 miles. So, and it has quite a bit of rust on the bottom of it, and so we'll just need to, I don't know how you want to proceed, if you want to do a silent bid, if you want to put a price to it, and we can get it out there to be sold. I don't know what the process is, though.
Silent bids, generally, we put an advertisement out, and people submit bids, and we open them up here at meetings, so.
Perfect. Is that something that I do, or is that something that you do, Susan, or how's that gonna?
I think you would pay for the publication,
Yep.
and then they usually have the bids sent to our office
Okay.
to present to the board.
Got it.
You got a specific date that you would like to?
I don't. I was thinking, I know you stepped in the office this morning and thought maybe spring would be better, but I always think used cars like that, maybe right after the first of the year when everybody's getting their taxes back,
Yeah.
it's kind of a quick turnaround that way. It'd be a good work car, a good student car, you know. I mean, it's running. I haven't driven it other than like parking lot to parking lot, so I don't know a whole lot about it, so it would sell as is, but yeah. It does have a remote start. I did start it yesterday, and so, yeah.
So, you'll put the ads in, you wanna do a couple of weeks?
Yeah,
A few
that'd be
weeks?
good. Yep,
'Cause it won't get in the paper until next week, I think, at this point.
right, yep.
So that
So go
gets us
into
to.
February,
14th, well, do it open at our meeting. What's the 17th? Is that a
the
special day?
18th would be a Tuesday, right?
Tuesday. Let's just do the 18th. Would that be all right? Open them up to bids that day, and I'd have the bids into the auditor by the Friday before, the 14th.
14th?
Yeah. By close of the day.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then our little mini fridge here no longer works. So I don't know, Kurt did say he has some funds in his account. I don't know if that's supposed to go through one of our offices to replace it. It's kind of been our little break room area right here. And so I wanted to throw that out to you guys to see what your thoughts were on replacing it or getting some kind of a refrigerator in here. And we are also at the point where our old break room, we have files in there, and that's why we've kept it locked. And January of this year is our year to be able to shred all those. So we'll be going through those the beginning of this year. Here, I haven't had time yet this year, but and getting rid of all those. So it may be that the break room goes back to the original break room, but
Does the county have, didn't they have a shred day one time?
they have in the past. It
Yes.
was a paid-for thing.
Last year, we went to the Minneapolis bank, I think it was in Minneapolis. Minneapolis. We took a whole bunch and they had Shred It there and it was free. And we took all our stuff and dropped it off. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll check out
Yeah.
Minneapolis Bank.
Yep.
In Minneapolis, not here, I assume.
Yeah, it was on a Saturday and basically they had Shred It there with all their trash can things and
Yeah.
we filled their mug. So we didn't have to pay for it.
Okay.
You wanna do something about the refrigerator? Or just say, budget's tight right
Oh,
now.
walk your lunch over
Probably cheaper than
to
cooler bag.
the microwave I brought in from a previous camper we had, so. But I don't have a refrigerator to donate.
I think we can come up with
Yeah, okay.
what, $100 or $125?
I don't know. Yeah, and I can talk to Kurt. I mean, I don't know how that works as far as.
We can take it out of your guys' budget.
Yeah, take it out of our budget, you know what that
All right, I think
We'll
that's
figure it out.
all that I had. So if you had any questions or anything?
I'm gonna check with Bill Black. Maybe he's got something up there.
Mini fridges?
Maybe.
Okay.
Just so it's easy, because he'll not only bring it, he'll take and get rid of that one.
That's true.
That's half the battle, is getting rid of the old one.
Right. Do you want me to do that?
Everybody else does. You pick it up first.
All right. Well, I know.
Thank you very much.
Well, on the way to the county park.
Okay, moving right along, we're up to Bobby Wolf. I think she's online, and I see her. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning to all of you.
Morning.
I see a lot of changes happen in Louisa County this year, so
Sure.
a few of you haven't met me yet. So I work with Cindy Mears, and I work with the Mental Health and Disability Services Office. And Cindy is the face in Louisa County, and I do the coordination of services for Louisa. I'll just give you a quick update. As you've experienced some changes, we're experiencing changes too. So I'll start with some program updates just to let folks know some of the new things that have been happening in the mental health and disability services field with our region. So we are the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa. And we had contracted with First Resources to start up a new intensive residential service home. We call them IRSHs in Ottumwa. We have one of those also in Burlington, which would be the ones most likely that Louisa County would access. And that bed or the IRSH program has been open. Contract was completed in the fall, and they have been able to fill those beds. And at the last report I received, 3 of those 4 beds were with our region residents. So we were very happy to hear that. These are services that are kind of new to Iowa. They're very intensive services for individuals who we've been having difficulty place. So we're starting to see more and more of those IRSH homes opening up in Iowa. So we have 2 of those in our region. We also were able to contract for, we call them ACT services. They're assertive community treatment program, and Elevate is our provider. They've been providing those services for our region in our area. We actually have 2 ACT providers in our region, and the one that covers Louisa is the one with Elevate. The Elevate does meet in Louisa County. We have monthly CIT meetings at the sheriff's office. So they keep everyone apprised on that program, how many numbers are being served, how to access those services, and working with law enforcement to ensure that they have that ability to access those services and know the process in which to do that. So I have a few numbers. I didn't get November's figures because December was a busy month for everybody, and we ended up not having a meeting. But in October, they had 57 calls for mobile crisis response in our 5-county area. and 5 of those were from Louisa. And then I did not get November's numbers, but in December there were 45 calls, and one of those were from Louisa, and it was a new service that we kind of coupled in with that mobile crisis response as a community stabilization program. And that has been really helpful when our mobile crisis teams are responding out to the individuals in the community. Then they have the ability to also access a community-based services, which is a crisis stabilization program for 5 days, and then they help transition them into further services if needed. So it's a very nice service. It couples well with that mobile crisis response. Also, I wanted to let folks know, and we are reporting this at our CIT meetings in Louisa, but we will be hosting a 40-hour CIT training, which is crisis intervention training for law enforcement. And that will be from April 7th through the 11th. We're currently just trying to get the word out and find out who would be participating in that so that we could make, find a location that's centralized, but we're thinking that that will be held in Fairfield, but more details to come on that. And hopefully we will get a good response from our region law enforcement in attendance for that. If we do not fill all of the seats available, then we can go ahead and let that out for other regions to access, but we are hoping to fill those all ourselves. This is a statewide contract that we have with Solutions Point to provide these trainings. So we were very fortunate to be able to have the CIT training in our region this year. So we're looking forward to that. Also, some of the things that we've done in December, as every year, we did submit our annual report into the state. So that has been completed. It will be our last one, as probably all of you are aware. With the new legislation last year, which was House File 2673, there will be a lot of changes to the mental health system here in the future that will be taking effect July 1st. So we are trying to keep people informed and guide them to the hhs.gov website so that they can continue to be informed and gather information from the state on this new mental health and disability service system that has been in the works for some time. And in this new system, they will be combining the mental health services with addiction services, as well as with gambling and tobacco. It will include youth and adults. So we're really excited to see what this new system will bring. And our region has been cooperating with the state to supply them with whatever information that they need as this system moves forward. And we're just really excited to kind of see where it goes and trying to do everything that we can to be a good partner. So if you have any questions about that, I can provide you some limited information. I know at this point, the intent to award the administrative service organization for the new districts. Louisa County is in a different district than most of the other counties in our region, but the award went out to the Iowa Provider Care Association, and they're working on a contract at this time. And the state will then be working on a new state plan for mental health and disability services. And they had another recording, or there is a recording on the HHS website where they are discussing some of the new behavioral health and disability services administrative rules that will have to occur. And there is the ability to comment on those, and they're going to have some town halls. So I have a list of those town halls too, if people would like to participate in those as well.
Great. You guys have any questions for her? Since you're new and
That was a lot of information.
well, they're a little bit on information overload right now anyway, so.
I understand. I was wondering who you would like to designate to receive the emails, because Chris was receiving all of the emails previously on behalf of the region, so I want to make sure that, we have a universal distribution list, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting all of the information that you need to stay up on what's occurring in the mental health system.
Why don't you send them to me? I'm the chair, and I'm also on some sheriff stuff. So if you want to send them here, I'll make sure that they get forwarded on to these guys.
Perfect. Yes, I will do that. I'll have you replaced in the distribution list for Chris.
Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome. Thank you, Bobby. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all. It's nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Thank you.
Stay warm. Okay, moving right along. It's Leah's turn.
Let's see. In December, we received our yearly mosquito report. A little background for you too. Every year, public health in the summertime, we put out mosquito traps and we collect mosquitoes on a weekly basis, 2-3 times a week actually. We submit them to the state, and then they investigate what kind of mosquitoes they are. Basically, we're looking for mosquitoes that are carrying disease. We want to, not that we're going to be able to mitigate it just by looking at the mosquitoes, but it correlates with what kind of diseases we might be seeing. The trends, just looking for trends. Second year in a row, we have found the albopictus. And this one carries diseases, chikungunya, dengue fever. Some of our mosquitoes that they find carry West Nile virus. One of our traps is specifically looking for these albopictus mosquitoes. We found 2. They're basically telling us that means they're probably gonna always find them here. We aren't seeing an increase in these types of diseases, but there's always that potential. So 2 mosquitoes the entire time we're trapping. That's not a lot, but they are still saying that means they're here. One of the things the report did say that the mosquitoes collected in 2024 was dramatically higher than that of 2023. So last year was a good year for mosquitoes. We plan to continue collecting these as long as they want to collect the data. So, do you have questions about that report?
Do how many bird flu reports in Louisa County?
I have no bird flu reports. Other things, we did have our budget meeting with public health last week. So those will get submitted on the 28th, right? That's our workshop here.
Yeah.
We submitted it with a 3% increase. And I don't know what questions you have. Do you have questions about that?
They will probably when you present it.
Okay.
That'd probably be the best time for that.
Okay. I'm currently working on, a lot of our grants have media reports, so I'm working on getting those submitted right now. Home care has been busy. We've had several admits last week or 2.
Vehicles are doing okay.
What?
Vehicles are doing okay.
Vehicles are doing fine. I have one that they said has been starting a little weird, but it's okay.
If you sat outside all night, you'd start a little weird.
Well, this was before it got really cold,
okay.
so. But it still seems to be doing okay.
Keep your eye on it. Great. Guys, any questions for her? No?
Jim, you got the mosquito report at the meeting, didn't you? Jim, you got the mosquito report at the meeting? Okay. Bring your copy.
All right. Right along, number 12 is Jacob on conservation.
Yeah, we don't have a lot to report either, or this is our slower season. I would never call any season slow, but we're a little slower. We're hiring out our naturalist interns and our maintenance interns. The conservation board approved those guys. There are our workhorses in the summertime. They usually run, it's traditionally college-age students, and so it's just between the school year during the summertime. We have a couple outliers, somebody that's out of school, but he still wants to work for us part-time, so he starts a little earlier, but So we are doing a 6-month position and a 3-month position this year. That's a decrease from last year. Budget-wise and staffing, we figured one less was our part. We did submit our budgets as well. Conservation Board approved them. We had a 0% and a 3% as Susan asked for. The shop guys have been, or shop guy and myself, we've been doing some equipment maintenance, just getting everything that you can't do in the summertime, we're just doing in the winter. Some things we gotta wait for the ground to freeze, and now we're waiting for the ground to thaw again so that we can do other projects. So it's just a big old weather game. Our naturalists are in the schools doing programs all over the place. Every morning you look at the Google Calendar and it's just hodgepodge, visiting all the schools we have. And yeah, I've just been floating in and out of helping where I'm needed.
Since I have 3 of the department heads here from the complex, paperwork's been submitted. I don't know if they flipped the switch on the solar yet, but any day you won't know it. But the solar is activated. So technically, they're saving money.
Yeah.
Or will be soon, so.
Yeah. You guys probably know about our, the Sam Wilson case. I called him and he's willing to be on our board still. So I did touch base and say, hey, just want to make sure that this is what you like to see. And he said, yep, I'd love to be on. And so I caught him up on everything that he had missed, and we're going to move forward, given Parsons' recommendation.
When's our next meeting?
At least, or the latest, February 3rd. I think it's on Monday. But if we have budget stuff that we need to call a special meeting for, then before that.
Sounds good.
Questions?
Nope.
Well, that was easy. You guys got off light this morning. Okay, we'll move to number 13 then. Talked to Brian T. He said he talked to Ed Mears on being on the Planning and Zoning Commission Board and the Board of Adjustment, and he seems like he's willing to do that. So I guess I would make that recommendation to appoint Ed to those 2 positions.
One question.
Sure.
They do still live outside the city limits, right? You cannot be in the city limits and be on planning and zoning.
They're outside, I think.
I think.
Yeah, I think
I just want to make sure.
City's right there, yeah.
Just want to make sure the city hadn't annexed
Other
it.
side of the creek.
No, that city hasn't had
Okay.
that.
Okay. Then
I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ed Mears to the planning and zoning commission.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Motion second. Is there any discussion?
Will that fill that board in? Will it be
I
filled?
think one's full and then we still have one. I don't have my papers in front of me,
Okay.
and I can't tell you which one it is.
Did they do both when they did that, or did they just do the one for planning and zoning? You need to do Board of Adjustment also.
I believe it was for both, right? That's the motion.
Yeah. Just making sure.
I'll check on it though and see where
We're
we're at.
just
But I
curious.
think one, I don't know which one, but I think one's still, and I think Brian said he had 2 spots in one of them, but I'll let you know. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, all right, motion carries. Okay, we're down to number 14, discussion and action, possible action on 2080 agreement. I think that's why Brandon's here.
Yeah, more or less, counties over the past few years have merged their emergency communications and emergency management together. When you do that, you have the possibility of then using other funds, general supplemental, other funds that you choose. So it opens up operational budgeting for you guys to choose to use more of general funds. It doesn't really change anything. Everybody will operate the same. Brian will have an office there, he'll have a computer there. We've had a couple upgrades in the dispatch center, make it more into an emergency center. So he'll have a desk there. If something's going on, he can be right there when calls come in and coordinate with whoever, Red Cross, Railroad Systems, Fire Rescue, whoever. So it opens up some more room for you guys to have some budget money. And it doesn't really affect any operations. It does probably make it better for our office. It's moving dispatch wages, longevity, overtime to the EMA budget.
Have you guys seen that agreement? Have you read that agreement yet?
I read through.
Okay.
I guess my question is, what is the benefit to the county?
You get to use supplemental instead of general, because you're gonna be cut. And Susan could probably explain that more.
But the problem I see is we have this pie of budget to work with for the county. And if we're simply moving around and taking a piece out over here and then still taking your same piece out on this side, as we work around the pie, somebody's gonna be short.
No,
Because
you're getting.
it all comes out of the county budget.
You're absolutely correct. But you're getting the opportunity to use whatever money you want. Before, you don't have that opportunity. You can't use dispatch wages and general supplemental. This is giving you the chance. You can tax or not taxes however you want to. This gives you opportunity to use multiple funds to do so. Is how this works.
I think Kevin's trying to explain is on the budget, if we're moving, say, 300,000 from this line item to this line item, then our budget needs to be lower by 300,000 over here, is what I think
If
he's
you
trying to
choose
say.
not to raise taxes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
I'm just, I just don't want to funnel money from one place to another place and allow, I guess, it doesn't matter where we take the money from. It still comes out of the county's coffers. And so, I just don't want to funnel money around to make it, more advantageous for one budget at the sacrifice of the budget somewhere else.
Yeah, I get
Is
it.
what I'm saying. So as long as we all understand that doesn't mean that because we moved money here, we can raise up money over here. I guess I'm okay with it, but I don't know how you guys feel.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with that.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
just.
We have to look at the whole picture
Right.
and whether or not wherever money's coming out of whoever's budget, the bottom end is what we're trying to figure out. I totally agree with that. Yes.
and then does that increase Brian's workload very much? No.
So if he's got an office out there, is he still gonna retain one here?
It's up to him. We're giving that opportunity. There's another office out there too that he doesn't utilize. It's just storage. So if you want to stay here, go.
Putting him in the broom closet.
Yeah.
Well, then
But
they
it's
have their
a-
break room back if we get.
It's available. You know, the office is still available out there. Well, their old probation office, that's still available. And then if there's an emergency, he's more than welcome to come in the dispatch center and help out. But again, this just opens up the opportunity. There's only certain things you can use supplemental funds for. When you do this, this is one of them. You just got to make the choice of what you want to do in the budget when all the budget's done.
I will say I've talked to many other counties, and when I talked to the other counties, they were like, you haven't done this yet?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the
Absolutely.
other counties have done this to open up the funds because they knew of the House File 718
Where it was going.
going into effect.
So we don't necessarily have to fund it completely out of general supplement. It can be combination of both, or would it all be moved to?
Yeah, you could. I mean, it's up to you when we start working on the budget, if you want to start moving, part from Fund 1, part from Fund 2, but everything that is in the EMA can come out of Fund 2.
Because we do this doesn't mean we have to.
Fund
It
it
gives
all.
us the flexibility
To do it if you'd like
Yes.
to.
Yes.
That's the only reason why everybody's doing this. And the
Yeah.
state told me to do this as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, do we want to approve today or do we need to look at it further?
It's up to you. That's what we get to say.
Yeah.
I'd open it up for a motion if you would like to make one. On approval or however you want to do it.
This has went through Parsons to be approved on his side. It still has to be approved by EMA as well,
Their board.
their board.
So do we need to wait for that approval?
No, you can go either direction, is what Parsons said the other day.
Well, it sounds like it's been researched, so I'll make a motion to approve the 28 agreement.
If you don't like it, you can always cancel them, I guess.
I'll second
Motion and a second to approve the 2080 agreement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
it.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah, copy should be signed.
Paul's not here yet.
I think he was gonna Zoom.
Oh.
I was looking for him, I can't find him,
Yeah.
unless he's the NA.
Yeah. Paul, are you online anywhere?
That email, I wasn't sure if he was gonna be here or not, the way he worded that email last night, but
He said somebody's gonna try and Zoom in, so
And the library administrators.
they're at 9:30,
They're
so
9:30, yeah.
give Adam.
Adam. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about Adam. You're hiding in the back.
That's okay.
All right, we'll let Adam talk.
All right, well, we've been, slowed down by the weather. We're not, not doing much work today. We're in the shop, doing maintenance on trucks and things like that. We did have a safety meeting yesterday, working on some things, there at the safety meeting. Last week we continued cutting trees, up on X61 F Avenue, power plant, things like that. Doing that kind of stuff, getting budget about ready to go. I did submit a budget to Susan with a 3% increase on it. Doesn't, so our budget is a little different. Ours is a transfer that's predetermined by the state, so it goes up as the value of property goes up. So is what it is there. We are the only department that gets to every year have a balance that we can now carry over. You know, our balance at roads is like 4.3 million now. So my budget will seek to spend a little bit of that on some equipment, a couple bridge repair projects and things like that. So I do have the salt shed in there. I'm gonna ask for lost. If you guys can't do it, then I can figure it out. But so
Any idea what the price tag on the salt shed is?
$225. So we're also looking at getting some spray foam insulation up on our Columbus shop. I don't know, a day like today, it is just burning through the fuel. So yeah, so some things to talk about. You know, if you could
That'd probably
help out, that'd be
well
good.
spent. That'll be a lot like the furnace we replaced it. It'll end up
Yeah.
saving us the money.
On days when it's cold and windy, you can kind of see the cobwebs moving up there. So
was that salt shed, a hoop shed, or what?
yeah, it would be a poured concrete slab, walls, and then a hoop on the top. So we built one a couple years ago up in Junction. I think that one was by 50 by 80, and this one would be 70 by 80 because we can handle a little bit more here in town. So
I think that'll hopefully allow us to buy more
yeah.
bulk, and then we
Yeah.
can save more money there too.
yeah, so we for the past few years have been buying green treated salt out of Burlington from Merchants, and they got out of business. So now it's handled by a company, the Dubuque. I forget the name off the top of my head, but anyway, we have to buy it from Cedar Rapids and pay to have it trucked down. You know, it's $135 a ton by the time it gets down here. We do have a ability in the future, if we have the storage, to either buy a barge of it at once or buy it from the state. And that would be just pure salt, but it'd be like $90 a ton. Probably wouldn't work as good on a day like today, but it's definitely could save us 35,000 a year. We'll probably have some of the green on hand just in case we do get in a bad situation, but the ability to buy in bulk and have it stored, in October or something like that is a lot more appealing to me than buying it now and having it trucked down and all that. So, plus, anytime you can buy something at this year's prices when we're not going to have a lot of snow this year. Fingers crossed, of course, but we're not going to use a lot of it. So if we buy it now and have it piled up there for next year, so to me that just makes sense. So. And it's one of the few things that we can kind of do in advance. We can't buy rock. Well, I'm sorry, we are buying some rock in advance, but a lot of it's just as used. So, looking at for equipment. So we have a 1992 end loader that was in Wapello and it got moved up to Junction. It's just rusted to heck. So again, it's got a bunch of hours on it, a lot of salt. We're looking at replacing that. We are looking at getting a skid loader, a track loader that we use for anything from box culvert repair and clean out, brush clearing, moving some snow if we had to. That's not a big one. But the other big one is patching jobs, where right now we got a 2000 there backhoe is just shot. It leaks all over the place, and every time we use it, we have to get it charged up, and it's just a piece of junk. So that's what we're looking at. I've also got that utility truck that we had talked about, I think, last year with the spray equipment on and all that. So anyway, spending a little less than next year than we are this year. So
knock on wood, we can make it through the winter without any major happenings.
yeah, I mean, we kind of usually this week or the week before when we get dumped, and it's like they're getting all that down in Louisiana and Florida.
Well, the next couple of weeks look pretty good, so.
Yeah.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, the only issue is if we get a lot of frost and then it comes out and get rain on top of the frost, and then the roads do have some issues then. So we shall see.
And do we have any idea when they're gonna start construction on the second half?
I would assume as soon as what weather allows, probably March, April, something like that.
So
So
be closed again till October-ish again,
yeah,
November.
yeah.
That one's gonna be a tough one.
The detour is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
It's all going to be routed through Columbus City and Columbus Junction. I know our roads are okay. We've got the main drag through Columbus City, but once it gets into the junction, I mean, we've got potholes everywhere there. So kind of their problems. We did get a payout. I may have told you this last week for use of X17 and G36. It was 72,000 for that, which kind of works out. That's road's been there for 15 years, and it is getting some cracking and stuff that we're gonna have to fix anyway. The big expense is gonna be bridge approaches. The bridge approach over the viaduct there is not in good shape, and it hasn't been for years. Larry used to have on his agenda and just didn't ever get done. So probably gonna have to do something on those at some point. So
Yeah, there's a pretty good bump on X17 there on one of those little bridges. Not the big bridge, but the little one beyond it.
yeah,
I think there's a pretty good bump on that one.
yeah.
If
Adding to elaborate, we had a couple accidents and the state came in, tried to fill up the gaps between the concrete and the gravel. But we measured and we held the road liable for an accident due to 5-inch gap
Yeah.
between there. And she went off the road because the semi was coming into her lane, went into that gap and then wrecked.
Yeah.
So they came in and filled some, not all. So it needs to be really examined.
Yeah, end of October, November, we had some issues out there. Eventually, the DOT did come in and gravel the shoulders, and it looks okay now, but for a while again, it was, you know, a bunch of that road is concrete over top of asphalt. So you can, yeah, I mean, it was all the way down to the asphalt, and I complained, and eventually they did it, but.
I think it's elevated, water's coming right through between, creating that gap probably.
There was an accident out there where somebody hit the approach rail on that bridge, so the DOT is going to fix that at their own expense, so. I guess, big picture, over the winter, we're going around and making a list of patching for projects. And depending on how many we have, we may do some in-house or contract them out, so. You know, there's I guess my biggest fear is all the payments west of Wapello, you know, Wapello West over to Junction, Morningside, all those were done in the 80s. And that's kind of our time bomb thing I see with waiting. So the debate as to whether into patch them now or wait and do them as a bigger project. So just things I think about. So but that's it for me. So.
Okay, still don't see Paul anywhere. Okay. I did see Adam come in.
You just need to acknowledge receipt of the proposal. So if he's not
I
here,
don't.
you can just acknowledge receipt of it. By his email.
Oh, by his email?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we got him on email, so I guess do we have to make a motion for that?
You just need to make an acknowledgement.
Okay, well, we got the union's proposal, I guess, through email, so that would be our acknowledgement.
Okay.
We'll
Just need to reply back.
review
to
it.
him.
I don't need to reply, just
We need
review
to set
it.
a time for negotiations for Friday.
This Friday.
That's one thing he asked in that email about whether Friday was still happening and what time.
Meet this Friday.
Well, you as a board member do not have to be there.
Okay. Then, yeah, I guess.
It's just Paul that has to go.
I guess,
You should,
Is that something you?
is there a time that works better for you?
it's anytime's fine with me. We can move it if we need to move it to like Monday.
Well, I think that
I think Friday works, so.
the direction that he was gonna go this year was in the past, when I've done it, the board members were present.
Yeah, I think that's best.
I don't disagree, but the way he talked last time was, we weren't gonna be there, he was just gonna handle it, but I don't know how you do negotiations when the other side isn't there talking.
I agree.
I
Well,
think it's wise to have board members at
I know
the
this,
thing, because it,
I will not be able to. Well, technically I could do it in the morning, but by noon I got other things.
and I won't be here Friday because originally I was gonna be here, but then when he said he did, he kind of suggested we not be there, so I made plans. I'm gonna be out of town this Friday.
Monday. That would be acceptable.
Let's check with
Yeah.
Paul.
Check with Paul, see if we can't move it to Monday.
I would then suggest Friday, putting something on the agenda though, for accepting the union agreement. So you have your wages set for what you need before the February 5th deadline for EMA.
You're saying,
You're saying, negotiate it on Monday, hopefully come to some sort of conclusion, so.
oh, and then have it
Tuesday,
on the
to
agenda.
28th, we do that.
Okay,
I mean, there's,
makes sense. We're still getting it completed before the next meeting, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, you want to send him Paul an email when you get time and
Do it right
see
now.
if, that will work with him. I don't care the time specifically.
I mean, you could do it
10?
tomorrow, you could do it Thursday too, I just, as long as you guys have enough information to make a decision.
Well, we have, if we're all gonna, are we exempt if we go to?
If it's closed.
I'm a little confused. When is the county going to present its initial proposal then? Because that is not an exempt session. When you present your initial proposal, that is an open session.
Well, they sent the initial proposal to
No,
us.
the union did,
Yes,
but your
Board
response is an
response.
open meeting too.
our response won't be until next week.
Don't know, we haven't established that yet.
Yeah, because we just got it last night, so.
Probably wouldn't be till after our budget meetings, 28th, 29th, would it?
Well, how do you propose to negotiate
We have
if
to
you
negotiate
haven't
before
presented
the
an
budget.
open?
What if you, have your proposal next Tuesday, the 28th? And then what is your schedule like after the 28th?
Mine's open.
But you're out of town, or is it this week or next week?
Well, I leave the 30th for a week.
We can have a meeting with just two of you, so.
Well,
Because we can do a proposal, our proposal on the 28th, and then have another special board meeting on the 29th. Doing the final acceptance, because I know Brandon does need this for the E EMA.
See if he can do it Thursday. This Thursday.
what I'm saying is,
But
you
he-
guys have to have your formal response to them, which kicks off the thing.
Right, and that's why if we do it on Monday, it's not really, we're not giving us enough time.
And does the response have to be in a meeting, or could it just be made public?
I think it has to,
I know it's gotta be open, as Jim said, I'd have to look.
so you could do a special meeting like on Thursday or something to.
Right,
The school board never has the full board there when the superintendent presents.
Yeah.
So you don't. Board of Supervisors doesn't need to have, I don't think has to have a regular meeting, but you do have to have an open meeting to present your proposal by somebody.
And you could do that at the negotiation, and that might be why the other board of supervisors have always been there.
See if he's available Thursday.
Okay.
I just hate to be right against the wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to give us about a week, just in case something happens, because that would be February 4th would be the next available meeting, and then you're really pushing it, but
Yeah.
I have everything prepared, I have to plug it in, whatever you decide, I can plug it right in, but
The only reason I felt like it was important to have us all here is down the road, they get familiar with the process and,
well, you kind of understand going through the union contract, all the different
every year you
services.
go through this, you understand what you're checking.
Yeah, it's usually, last year was a good meeting, it was good, everybody there.
Yes, we can do it without Scott, but I think it's important that they get familiar with it.
Yeah, just
They
Paul,
got 4 years of this.
Paul needs to be there, or we can Zoom him in at our office, we can do that as well.
All right,
So
we'll
See
see,
which is,
Well, and I could probably do Zoom too, I guess.
let's see if we can figure that out.
which is something we have to, or the board needs to develop its response, and that's, I believe, what the exempt session is planned for today, right?
Yeah, he said put it on there just in case. Which we probably won't worry about today, but he said keep that on there every meeting in case we needed to do that. Okay, so we're gonna talk to Paul and see if you guys are available Thursday. We can maybe do it Thursday. We'll try to do what we can. Good?
Good, I have a southeast, regional planning at noon on Thursday.
Yeah, well, noon,
I could do it in the morning.
morning, or later in the afternoon. Okay, fair enough.
I copied you guys in on the emails, so. you
And
can
again,
respond.
I can still do it Friday morning as long as it's early, but you get up to about 11:30, I got a obligation.
I can make Thursday work.
All right, we'll see what we can do. More to come. I see libraries here. Hi, everyone. I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, go for it. Each year we try to just sort of streamline all of the statistics. We're required by the state library to put together and answer a bunch of different questions. So this is the stuff that we thought might be of the most interest to you all. And then on the back, kind of just talks about how to get in touch with us. The things that we work on together, the standard services that we have. This QR code is something we added if you want to take a look at all of the financial and budget information to see sort of like where everything lands for all of us, and same size libraries, that's all available online. It's just a fiscal year behind. Would you like one too? I did make extra. Fantastic. So I guess, I don't know where to be. Sorry.
Well, Kevin's been on the Wapello City Council with me for
Fantastic.
several years, so he knows that side that the Wapello, the city of Wapello does contribute to the library. You guys need to know that the county does as well, to all the libraries in Louisa County.
I know that.
12,000, I can't remember the amount off the top of my head.
So it is around the $12,000 mark for Let's. This was fiscal year 23, so this is a year behind. For me, it was around 13. For Morning Sun and Wapello, it was reported at like 14.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for all county patrons. So even if someone maybe has a Morning Sun address, but they come into Columbus Junction, we still provide the same service that we would to anyone else. So this number down here at the bottom, the amount that patrons have saved, there's a website called I Love Libraries. It has a calculator that you can plunk in your own personal use of your library. So I put in our countywide use, and that's the number that it spits back out at me. That doesn't include like meeting rooms and different things like that. It does, talk about like over in Columbus Junction, obviously I have a lot of reference questions. We get a lot of folks coming in not sure how, like, we're working with conservation right now to do hunter safety in 4 languages. So there's a lot that's different in each community, but a lot of things that we work on together to save our county a significant amount of money. So overall budget, that's like a 96% return on investment, which I think is pretty great. So
Since you brought that up, I'm curious to know, how do you do hunter safety in 4 different languages?
It's awesome.
It is fantastic. No, it's really cool. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's interpreters there. And then we're hoping to, I talked with Leanna before she, a couple weeks ago, and we're hoping that maybe we can get a grant to actually get all of those written materials translated into, so it's English, Spanish, Chin, and French.
Wow.
So we work with Tyson to get translators. There's like 3 Friday nights in a row specifically for those populations. But it's not the hunter safety that like when you're 12 you need to go through, right? Like this is for all those gentlemen. It's really fantastic. I shouldn't say gentlemen. The majority of the class is gentlemen this time. But it's also really great because there's a lot of great questions about gun ownership, responsible gun ownership, responsible, like if I bought this from a store and then I transfer it to my friend, how do I do that legally? Like people are asking really great questions and really trying to learn how to be good citizens. And that's a lot of what I sort of answer as questions as well. Like, You know, I have my permanent resident card. They keep talking about voting. Do I vote? No, you don't vote. You're not a citizen yet. So, you know, just different things like that.
Is our sheriff's department included in on any of that?
No.
No?
This is
Okay.
IRDNR.
Just question.
DNR, yeah. DNR's there. Anyway, I'm sorry. Do you have other questions?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to run
No,
off the rails.
you're fine.
Hijack your meeting.
We did this, we were all kind of talking about it. We did this in 2020, right before the world shut down. So it feels very weird to be doing it again. I'm like, let's not bring that bad juju back with us. So, but you know, about every few years, it's really fantastic to work with Tyson and get that done for our communities. But also, I mean, that's one way that our library can help our citizens. There's lots of other things that happen in all of our county libraries that are just as responsive to their citizens.
We are all very different for
Yeah.
being in Louisa County, different ways that we have to support the community and programs that we offer. Just, you wouldn't think we are, but we are very different in our communities.
Well, some communities, rely on the programs more than other communities. It's kind of strange how that works.
That we're seeing a big influx of, we always focused on kids programs. And now kids are so involved with everything else.
Yeah.
But adults is what we're seeing. We just did a survey of our little exercise group, and all of the comments was, we have something to get out of the house. We have people we can visit with. It's a community thing. That the connections, and that's something that they need because there's not much else in Louisa County to connect them. Yeah.
And even being individual libraries, we're all in contact and work together and meet regularly.
We share a lot too. Like if Amy's done a program over in Morning Sun and she's done all this work to create stuff, I'm not gonna duplicate that. I'm just gonna borrow from her. So we work together a lot.
If the board members haven't visited the other libraries recently, I'd encourage you to do so, because you'd be pretty shocked when you walk in how nice they are there.
And I will say, as the newbie in the group, the rest of the libraries have been extremely supportive of me, you know, and Let's Library, just trying to, you know, get all of our ducks in a row and keep swimming.
Yeah, right.
This is our donations. This is what's required by law, and then this is what our county contributes.
And then we kind of plug that in for this year, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're on target,
Perfect.
as far as I know. More to come.
We love it.
You never know.
So
what
have you
happens.
heard any more about internet service, the quicker internet service? Come on, please.
So I can tell you that Louisa Communications put fiber optic on the south end of town. Some residents down there, I happen to be one of them. So they're inching their way into Wapello. There was discussion a year or two ago when I first got on about running a trunk line to Columbus Junction, but I don't know if they ever did that or not.
There's one in Columbus Junction. It goes from Morning Sun to Columbus Junction, then down 92 into Bear. There is a fiber link there. By the way, the Morning Sun Library does have
We're good to
internet
go.
service.
We're great.
That's
In
the
Columbus
perk of having
Junction,
it in town.
in Columbus Junction, it's right at the bottom of the viaduct, so it just needs to be run up into the city hall from there. Wapello, it's right at there is a trunk right at the back of the post office. So you're talking about 2 houses away from the library there. Let's, I'm sorry, has to run from 92 all the way up into town.
So is there a drop port I can get, Randy?
I no longer have anything to say about that, but you know, it's pretty close. So.
You guys are more than welcome to give them a call and say, hey, you know, what can we do to run it 300 yards?
I know we have started, checking out hotspots, and they are a very hot commodity in the county. For people that can't get internet.
Can't get fast enough internet. So a lot of folks that are doing any sort of online classes, they have, in order to do their like exams from home and things like that, they have to like do test speeds and all that kind of stuff. And that's a huge use of our hotspots. We have 8 of them. I currently have none of them available for checkout at this point. And I think you're probably pretty much the same.
We've got 10 and they were all gone over Christmas, so. And especially with the kids having to do online classes at school now.
I'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, I would
Reach out.
talk to them because,
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
yeah, I mean, it ran down my road for quite a while before they came and hooked me up to it. And I don't know what the logistics of that was, but I kept bugging them and they kept saying, well, you know, and then they finally came and did it, so.
Give 'em a ring. See what they can do. Anything else?
Nope, do you have anything for us?
No, you guys doing a great job.
Well, come visit us.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Or give us
encourage
a
the
call.
community, if they haven't been to your local library lately, go, you'd be shocked at the services that they provide.
Well, and we all have individual Facebook pages. Follow us, see what we do regularly.
It's awesome. It's a very untapped resource that I think that the community doesn't realize is there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. My kids are out there because you know school.
Say one.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Really and fun.
Okay, we're down to number 17. Adam?
I don't have the agenda in front of me.
That says possible closed session pertaining to the Sam Wilson lawsuit.
Is Holly up on the?
Yes, she is. Holly, would you mind coming aboard here?
Hello.
There she is. All right, you guys have the floor. I don't, it's up to you guys, whether or not you want to do closed session or not. I'm relying on your expertise.
Holly, this is Adam. I would defer to your thought on that, if you want to recommend a closed session or remain in open session.
Adam, I think we have ongoing litigation, so I would recommend a closed session to be able to provide attorney-client privileged advice to my client, the Board of Supervisors.
Well,
I have a question, I
Sure.
guess. I understand the part about the litigation. The basic thing is you guys have to decide if you're going to hold this in closed session or not. And there are some political issues, I think, that have nothing to do with if that's going to harm your appeal. And those are things that I don't think can be discussed in a closed session. Yet the strategy and how you're going to proceed perhaps can be, that's obvious. But whether or not you're actually going to make an appeal based on what the judge has issued, I think that should be discussed in an open session and the public be allowed to know what you guys are thinking as to whether or not that decision is something you want to challenge. The strategy on how you're going to go about doing it, that's the strategy that you can pose for, and you can say that this is going to harm our case if this comes out.
I don't disagree with that. I guess, well, Holly, do you agree that we need to make a decision whether or not we're going to appeal it or not first?
I would disagree with that. I mean, you have insurance coverage. that would play into this. I represent the insurance carrier, ICAP, who's covering this matter. And through that insurance coverage, I represent you. You have legal considerations, and you will be making a decision based on legal advice about whether or not you would want to appeal this. If you have political decision, a political decision after you receive legal advice, you could come out of closed session and talk about those political considerations. But I think you need to go into closed session and understand the legal considerations first.
I understand the legal side of it. I don't understand what people are talking about political side.
I don't really either. I'm not
I don't
privy to that. I don't know who's speaking and who's giving you political advice right now. But from a legal standpoint, I'm your lawyer who represents the county, and it's my position that you have ongoing litigation and that you need to receive confidential and privileged legal advice on behalf of the county about about this ongoing litigation.
I understand that. What's your point on political?
Just a decision that you fired an individual that was a community member, that was a member of a public board. And now that judge has said, no, you guys are wrong. Not you guys,
Yeah, I
but the
understand.
board of
I know what you're
supervisors
saying.
were wrong. And so the public, I think, has a right to know what your thinking is as to why you disagree with that judge now. And before you decide if you're going to actually make any formal decision. And I think a lot of what's going to be discussed isn't strategy as such. It's, well, are we going to move forward? Are we going to, with litigation? Are we going to agree that this wasn't done properly to begin with and just move from that point?
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but she may have some information that we don't know about yet, and how can we make that decision if we don't know that information?
And is that information gonna harm the case?
It could.
But what if it doesn't? That's the only reason you can close it, is if that's going to harm. And you already know what the judge's decision is. You already have an idea of whether or not you want to appeal, I think. And all the attorneys are going to be telling you is, well, how you can go about doing that. You already know what the judge's position is on this. You already know what the ruling is.
I agree with what you're saying. However, I'm not an attorney.
Correct.
And I have to go rely on Adam and Holly's expertise and say, if we should, we should.
You don't have to.
Can't you just ignore it? You did that once and it was wrong.
I know, but I can't say that this decision wouldn't be wrong either.
I guess if, on his point of view, does the public have an input on this? You're elected official that's representing the public, so should they have an input on this too, as we're listening to it? Again, not how you're gonna present the case if you appeal it, but if you're gonna appeal it or not. The defendants aren't even here. They didn't even show up. And I don't know if they've contacted you guys. Have the defendants contacted you guys about this? You haven't heard from any of them.
That would be inappropriate. It would be counsel to counsel contact.
Just so the board knows, if you're going to not go into closed session, we won't be speaking about this today, because I'm not going to waive our attorney-client privilege by speaking to you about this in open session. That would prejudice the board.
But that doesn't stop us from speaking about it.
Yes.
But just to see
I would
your
also
input
note
right
that
now.
any decision you make has to be done in open session. So once you discuss
Correct.
this with counsel, if that's what you choose to do, which I would recommend, then the decision has to be made after you come back into open session.
Fair enough. Okay. I'd look for a motion to go to closed session if you want to. If not, then let it go.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Okay. the judge's decision on the previous closed meeting was that that was not a proper issue. Does that make that information, does that make those minutes and that tape recording available to the public at this time then? Is that a discussion that's gonna come up, do you think, at this closed meeting today?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
The idea what the lawyers are gonna bring up, I guess.
Well, you can ask a question. You got the lawyers right here.
The money that, the judge awarded the plaintiff's attorney, does that come out of the insurance company? Or is that something that the county's liable for out of the general fund? Could you answer that, attorneys? Or is that secret?
Not a secret. Holly would have more knowledge about that than I do.
I'm assuming that we have a deductible and anything above the deductible insurance covers, correct, Holly?
That's my understanding as well, but I don't know that for 100% certain, but that's my understanding.
We did look that up at one point, provide that to the board, and I know the coverage changed between getting the first count kicked out and what we proceeded to trial on.
I don't recall if the open meetings claim was just a defense coverage or if it also included liability. I would have to look at the coverage on that. If it was just cost of defense, if that makes sense.
That would not be a discussion that would be held in closed session then.
For the insurance coverage, that's not in the closed session.
Maybe she did.
Well, it might, I mean, that might be a strategy consideration, so it could conceivably come up in the closed session. But no decision will be made in closed session.
Going back to my question about the availability of those information from the from the June 21st closed session. The judge would have to be asked to stay that order, wouldn't they, or wouldn't he, if those were not available now? Did you know that, Adam?
I'm not going to comment on that since this is ongoing litigation. If Holly wants to address it, she can, but I'm not going to at this stage.
Well, it seems like the only way we're going to move forward here is to go to closed session and listen to what our counsel has to say.
I'll make a motion to do closed session.
Okay. Motion second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we're currently in closed session.
We're gonna go close and go.
And then we'll have to open back up and then interview you.
And we gotta leave the building, or we just go down the hall and shut the
I
door.
think we probably got to shut that down. Nice try.
I don't know, you still going up to conference after this?
Yeah. It'll be in our training.
Did you do a roll call for closed session?
Well, let's leave the, there you go.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We'll do a roll call. We'll let everybody leave and then we'll do a roll call. Okay.
I will be sitting out. I'll be sitting out.
Great. You better start it up and get the heater going.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Oh, she's starting to move stuff over, whatever goes in there, so it's worth whatever it
Okay,
is.
yeah, I didn't know.
I think there's three things, but I'm not positive. You want me to stick around for the next close?
What's next close?
You gotta do the legal rebuttal pretty much.
Doing that Thursday.
No, you gotta come up with, you gotta send something back to like 0.
Okay.
And then you negotiate.
Okay.
So we gotta come up with that right after this. You want me to stay here?
Okay.
So I did look that up in,
Yeah, no, I get it.
I did look,
That'd be good.
I did look that up in the meantime.
Yeah.
Just holler at me, I'll be there.
Chapter 20 provides that,
Do I stop?
Let's go ahead and
recording?
do-
Hang on a second,
Yeah,
do
you
I
gotta
stop
stop.
recording this? Because we're in closed session.
And then